In an extraordinary move, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is right now working to impose sweeping new rules on America's top generals and Pentagon officials, requiring them to submit to random lie detector tests, according to the Washington Post. It comes as senior officials are also now being forced to sign strict new non-disclosure agreements, barring release of non-public information without approval or through a defined process. CNN has reported on these non-disclosure agreements, but tonight the Post is learning new information that the Pentagon is now considering a much more aggressive approach. National security lawyer Mark Zaid, who represents several Trump administration whistleblowers, including one at the Pentagon, sounding the alarm, telling the Post, quote, "This seems to be far more directed at ensuring loyalty to the DOD, the former Department of Defense, and the Trump administration leadership rather than countering any foreign espionage." Out front now with the new details, Tara Kopp, Pentagon reporter with the Washington Post. And Tara, I really appreciate seeing you again. All right, so, I mean, it is just pretty stunning just to take a step back and think that we're now in a moment we're going to submit the top generals in the United States to random lie detector tests. You trust them in fields of combat, but you don't trust them. I mean, who is going to be subject to these polygraphs and NDAs?
Well, this is what we're hearing. According to the officials we've spoken to and the documents we viewed, this new program would be much broader and much more intimidating in nature and could potentially affect thousands of people who work for not only the Defense Secretary, but also for the Joint Staff and the Chairman, General Dan Kane. So according to the documents that we viewed, it's also much broader in what kind of information might be withheld. This is not about protecting classified information. This is about keeping out any sort of non-public, non-approved information. That is what the NDA would cover. Everyone is going to be required to sign it. They'll have 30 days to sign it if this policy is approved. And again, the memos that we have looked at don't describe classified information. It's non-approved information. This is about prohibiting those employees from doing anything except touting an official message.
Right. Whatever the official message is from this Pentagon, that's all you're allowed to say. That is stunning and that is unprecedented. What are you hearing from people, Tara, about how they're responding? Are they going to agree? Are they going to submit to this? Are they going to sign the NDAs?
Well, those employees may not have a choice, and it affects contractors, it affects defense civilians, it affects all the military personnel. If you don't sign, you might be subject to prosecution under the UCMJ. And as we heard from the Defense Secretary yesterday, those who dissent always have the option to resign, which isn't really an option.
Yeah, wow. All right, Tara, thank you very much for being here with your great reporting from the Washington Post. And out front now, retired Major General Randy Manner. He served as the Deputy Commanding General of the U.S. Army. General, I'm grateful for your time tonight. I know as you have thought about this push for random lie detector tests, polygraphs, you're concerned it could create the basis for false accusations. What do you mean by that?
I think it's one thing where the inspector generals are going to be gotten rid of by the secretary. That was stated yesterday. It basically means that you no longer can complain about people who might have corruption or are doing things that are illegal, but now we're going to have people watching literally all the people in the Defense Department. This appears to me to be an administration that is running scared and is basically trying to control the information around them, because they don't have that control that they want, which is absolute.
It is a stunning moment, General. I mean, Pete Hegseth has threatened the top military officials with a lie detector test before, but it's been a threat, right? At one point, according to the Wall Street Journal, he shouted at Admiral Christopher Grady, who was then the acting chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he shouted, "I'll hook you up to an effing polygraph." And he threatened Lieutenant General Doug Sims with the same. So, you know, when you hear reporting like that, right, to be speaking like that, "I'll hook you up to an effing polygraph," what does the tone, what does the manner, what is the word choice, what does this mean about the level of anxiety he has?
He has tremendous anxiety. This is something where if we don't trust our generals and our admirals and our senior enlisted leaders, literally with the lives of our sons, our daughters, our husbands, our wives, our aunts and uncles, which we do, of course, then why are we doing all of this stuff about polygraphs? This is all about a political move. It's one of those things we also have to be very careful about. You need to trust our American military in the same way that the American people have to know that our military is behind the American people. We are there. We will always be there for you. The president talked about the enemy within. The enemy within is not in the military. The enemy within is not the American people. And I'll let it to the viewers to decide where the enemy within is. But it's not us, and it's not the American people. Again, the American people have to have full confidence that the military is fully behind them, and we've got your back.
I do think it is quite profound what you said, though. I mean, these generals are entrusted with the lives of young American men and women, right? And to be entrusted with that in a theater of war, but not trusted enough to be not submitted to random polygraph tests to see who they're talking to or what they're saying is a profound thing to say. I want to show you, General, some photos from Hegseth's meeting. I saw these come out last night. They were very meaningful to me because you see the generals sitting silently, stern faces, they're stoic. Obviously, it's a somber moment. It's heavy. Hegseth was on stage at the time talking about fat generals, soldiers with beards, dudes in dresses. These are all his words. And they're sitting jammed in, sort of in some sort of like, whatever. It looks like a hotel ballroom sort of chairs, and they're all jammed in there, much like, I don't know, children in an auditorium. They've been flown in around the world to all jam in there. What does an image like that say to you?
It's important that the American people understand that that group of senior officers and senior enlisted leaders are very well educated. All of them are combat veterans. They have, in many cases, had many soldiers in their commands die in combat situations. Those are American heroes there. And they were being berated by a disgraced major. That's all that he ever got as far as the Secretary of Defense, and a president who, quite frankly, dodged the draft. Those soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, all those leaders, they were professional. They sat there and they listened to what had to be said. It's not like the time that the president went to Fort Bragg with the 82nd Airborne Division with these young 18 to 20-year-olds who were hooping and hollering for the president that were handpicked as being Trump supporters. These are the backbone of our nation's security, and they are apolitical, and they are going to stay apolitical. And that's why the American people have to be reassured that we are there for you.
General, I appreciate your time. I'm very grateful, and thank you.
Thank you.